New Essentials Podcast. Pooh Smooth and Jew, we back in the building again.
Yo.
In the building.
How y'all day going so far, man?
So far, so good. I got no complaints about today. It's been smooth. Shout out to Cube. Good day.
Smooth?
I'm alive.
Same thing every time, I swear.
What about you?
Me, good workout today.
Oh.
Just got it in. Trying to stay focused. Going through some personal things in my life, but you got to stay focused. Stay on your marathon. That's what it is.
100.
What we got today, Smooth? What we got?
Today we have economics over politics. Specifically in our community, there seems to be a media campaign, overall urban legend that black people aren't involved in the political system. And that just is not true. Because it's all in the numbers. We're at the polls. And let's not even compare to our other minorities or even just the whole population as a whole. As a community, we are involved in the process. Half the time, we're trying to get more of us involved because we've been incarcerated.
That's a fact.
But to no avail, usually.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think just being at the polls is enough for us? Like, are we in office? Are we in the seats that we need to be in? Are we on the board? Are we on the, things like that? Do you think that's what we're missing? Because the polls clearly don't seem to be enough, right?
Right. Let's go beneath the surface. Even if some of us are from our community are put in these positions, will they have our best benefit? Still maintain our best interest?
Right. Yeah, because I think it's easy to get to assimilate when you're inside.
Especially when you get a little bit more money.
Yeah, of course.
a little bit more connections. You get a little bit more perks up in life.
Your job is sort of contingent on how you maintain the relationships with the opposition, almost. You know what I mean? So I think it's definitely probably a tough road to navigate for most members of our community, trying to get into the office at least, or just be in that area.
Absolutely, and that's why we came with this episode, and I really wanted to speak on my point of view is the lack thereof and the non-focus of our economics just as much. If we equaled our energy to economics and togetherness and building, it would be for much more than what it is with all the marching and all the other stuff and trying to hope that somebody gets in office or rotating our life around a talking head that is in office.
Right.
But even when we had the biggest martyr, the biggest muse, what was really done for us at the end of the day while this person was in office? Let's not even talk about what's going on right now. You know? The glory days, right? His life was that much more different or worse. You know?
Right.
I can't say that.
I think, maybe, some people were not as outwardly vocal or outwardly, or as outspoken as they are now. I think a certain, demographic and community of people are more outspoken now than they ever have been probably before because the leader of the country encourages the behavior. Right.
Well, I like my racists right in front of my face. I really don't like my racists behind my back or quiet. I don't know where you're coming from that way. If my racist in front of my face, then I'm well more appreciative of it. I can identify this person much more easier than if I'm raising an eyebrow thinking I'm crazy.
All right.
Like, is that how that's supposed to be? Is this dude or female singling me out?
Right.
I'm asking that question. I don't have to ask that question much more these days. I'm glad for it.
Okay.
What do you guys think? And also, so me and Jew had this conversation before we started airing. talking about which we really don't have that much knowledge of, but talking about the Asian community that we don't necessarily see the at least forefront of media in pushing of their community towards politics, even though of course they're in politics, but economics for sure. There's a Chinatown, Japantown in every major city.
Mm-hmm.
We don't got a Harlem in every city.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we don't got a Harlem in every city.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I don't know if we let's see if all the cities I've been to, there is usually a historical black neighborhood in most cities that I've been to, except for here. So I don't want to point. I don't want to get stuck in this microcosm as a reflection on the whole United States.
Well, but is this
historic
black community
ours because San Francisco's so small,
housing project, or is it an actual black community that is a part of like house ownership and black ownership in this? Because historic black communities are usually associated with housing projects, which are government funded,
right,
which are not owned by us.
Yeah.
Chinatown's owned by China people that originate from China.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But
so you can't really say Hunter's Point is then, because a lot of the homes,
there is black ownership.
It is, but it's very, very minute.
So San Francisco is one of the few places that have an actual housing to population demographic similar. So we're only about 3% of population, but we are 3% of
3%.
homeowners. That is a fact.
That's 3% is what?
3% black in San Francisco.
And we match that with home ownership in this city, and which are highly populated in here and the Fillmore, which were the original redlining districts where we could only get houses.
Right.
So it's a little history, at least for San Francisco people. I know I'm probably embellishing.
So you more so talking about historically, not now.
Well, I'm just saying off what Jew was talking about. He said, I said there's not a Harlem in every.
No, I know what you're saying, but what I was saying was it's not that way now. Historically, it was. I get what you're saying, that it was.
What do you mean it's not that way now?
Like there's not a lot of black homeowners in Bayview Hunters Point.
I think we still got a similar
pieces. Yes, pieces, but it's not as much. It's not as prevalent. When I was growing up, there was a lot of. I don't know if they owned the homes, but it was far more in the community where I was than it is now.
But San Francisco's small compared to most cities too. So what I was saying was, our Harlem would technically be Oakland.
That's
true.
You
can say
you know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah.
Like, because the size of San Francisco is comparable to a neighborhood in New York. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, you are where you are. I mean, shoot.
Yeah.
They got Little Italy, which is a block,
Right,
so,
right.
I mean, that's good,
Right.
They got Russian Hill, which is 2 blocks, so, hey.
They tried to hang up some little red, black, and green stickers on the light poles on 3rd Street. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, I seen that. I did see that.
Yeah.
I did see that. Hey, so why do you think
that restaurant is it's a African
shout it out
African restaurant. I forgot the name of it though, but that's why they put it there, because it's the food that they sell is literally like African cultured food. That's why they put it up there though. But I seen what you was talking about though.
Yeah.
So why do you think that is, guys? Why do we not focus in on economics and segue that into what are y'all personal experiences with economics?
I mean, the why we don't focus on is because we're purposely kept out. I mean, through certain aspects, those resources aren't there in our neighborhoods. Those teachings aren't there in our neighborhoods.
Yep.
So,
Facts.
I mean, that's the start of it. We don't get the education. We don't have the same knowledge that some of our other counterparts do, and
Absolutely.
It's just. It comes down as to as simple as that. We don't have the knowledge, and then, knowledge gets passed down from generation to generation. And,
Speak!
Things like that. Like I believe, like homeowners. Like how many homeowners do we have in our community? right? We were just talking about that.
How many homeowners do we actually
and how
even know?
how many of those can we speak to and talk to,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
reach out to, and things like that will give us the information.
Like actual help.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I get it, there has to be some self, you have to be a self-starter. You have to go learn some stuff on your own. But for the most part, it's just we don't have the education, and the education is not easy to find.
At least when it's very lack of access, absolutely.
Right.
What about you, Pooh?
I'm not going to say I agree with it, but I agree with it.
What?
I agree with what he's saying. This is what it is. If you want to go deeper into what economics, the definition of what it is. Definition of economics is the branch of knowledge concerned with the production, consumption, and transfer of wealth. The black community, there is no transfer of wealth. Most of the times, it isn't at all. How many families have you known that pass down heirlooms or just anything of that nature?
That's why I say a home is the start of generational wealth.
Yeah.
That is the building block of generational wealth, because
then you go into any other necessities, jewelry or cars or whatever, because at the end of the day, those things of that nature will start to generate more revenue over time. The longer you have it within your family, the more money you can make from it. But that doesn't happen.
Not just that, it's also, let's take it like owning a home, right? So you have a family, you have kids, they need to go to college, right?
Right.
But they also need a place to stay, right?
Yeah.
So you have a home, you don't have to pay rent, the kids can live free, they can stack their money, go to college, build their self up, go get their career. Then they maybe come back for a little bit, stack up their money, and buy their own house. Well, then you have 2 houses in the family.
Well,
but that isn't the case a lot with us, because that's never the case, because you kind of told to, when are you leaving? You kind of you
and
get that.
Why
when
is
what day you get to a certain age, it's like, when the fuck you planning on leaving? You know what I'm saying?
Why is that?
18, you graduate. It's like you need to start looking for yourself a place to stay. It's not like, let me pass this down to you, and you try to, pass it down to the next person, or try to, like he said, go get another building, or just create businesses or just anything else outside of that. It's like, figure it out on your own. We selling this house at some point. That's the only thought process. And like we said in a previous episode, you just taught to learn. You just taught to work, retire, die.
Yep.
That's all we do. So what is next? What's the next? What are you supposed to do? It's like he said, it's not taught in our community at all. I know for me and my experience, my parents didn't teach me this type of shit. I started picking it up from my friends.
But
literally.
have you ever asked though? The only reason I say it, because your parents own your home though.
Yeah.
Right.
And my parents do not own any
Flex.
homes. So it's like that you can still ask your pops, how'd you do this or do that? Me, I can't ask nobody that. You know what I mean? It differs from person to person, but you can still ask that. So is it just that you haven't asked?
Me and my brothers had that conversation before.
Right.
Are you passing this to us because we can do something with this?
Right.
And his whole mindset is, I want y'all to sell it, get rid of it, because it's like, if we're not here, I don't want y'all here. But it's like, why would you think that? Why not make it a business move?
Damn.
Why not one of us stay here? Why not Airbnb it? Why not rent it out?
But see, that comes from
Things
lack
of
of
that
knowledge,
nature.
probably lack of knowledge on
his part. Yeah,
You know what I
for
mean?
sure.
And that's because that's the same thing when I moved out.
Because my grandpa, God rest his soul, I know for sure he didn't teach him none of that at all. So.
Right. And when I moved out, I suggested that they rent my room out at my house. Maybe a little college student or something like that. You guys can have some extra income. Get you a nice girl in here, blah, blah, blah. That's why it's no trouble, right? And they were so, shut off to that idea because of just the lack of knowledge. It just doesn't sound good from the optic standpoint.
At all. You're
well,
right.
I mean, our previous generation have their own ways. You know what I'm saying? So
Can't teach old dogs new tricks.
And so that's really the hardest thing. And especially, we can look at it as we've come up with this and we know this. But I found it's hard to talk up generations, especially more than one. You know? Imagine you trying to tell your grandmother something. Really, and them taking it in and listening and making an actual change within themselves.
Right.
Not gonna happen usually, you know.
But it's kind of not saying it's too late. But grandma is usually a little bit over 50, 60 years old. Like, what changes do she think she needs for her life at this point? You know what I mean?
Seeing it all done.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's why I believe in it's hard for communication of upwardness, of extreme upwardness between generations, because you got to get past the primary communication barrier of this is my child's child. Who are
right,
you?
right.
Who are you?
Right.
Like, no telling how many children that this person has, or how many children that this child has.
Great, grands. Yeah, I feel you.
It's tough.
What have been some hurdles have you had any hurdles trying to figure out those things? Like,
oh, absolutely.
Like,
One of my main things I say about my family, and my grandparents own our house, and I found out reluctantly about things like trust and wills, living trusts, successors, later on in life on my own. Because it is hard to have that communication, especially when that generation was extremely, and even less than their grandparents, affected by racism.
right.
So they're just, at this point, the fact that they're living is already a win.
Right.
The fact that their children has the ability to live and maintain on their own is a win.
Right.
So the fact of me talking up to them, telling them to do this and that, when they have children that are doing well for themselves, and me, I'm still getting support from them, asking for telling or recommending, rather.
Like, who are you? You can't even wipe your own ass.
Exactly.
That's why this shit they think. Like,
Okay, but no, this would be good for us.
Right.
Us.
Right. And even though it probably is, it's just like, who cares to them, you know?
Exactly.
I'm doing fine without it. I've been doing fine
for
this long
50
without
plus
it,
years before
Right.
you doing fine.
And here you are trying to change the wheel. Yeah.
So right.
Yeah.
So that is the issue, you know.
I just thought about something. My bad to cut you off, but when you started, you we're talking about how the Asian community and how they are. The Latin community is starting to do that. They buying homes. We all go stay in this motherfucker. We all go work.
Well, because
then we go
they
get
have
another.
no ego. I think that the number one thing is like, not the number one thing, but it's like, here, like, 5 of us can't live in the same house because poverty has us so used to hating each other. People that come from different countries don't have that. They have the mentality that, oh, we all in the same boat, so one of us got to get out.
Well, we're not from a different country.
No, I know.
Yeah,
But that's what I'm saying. The difference is.
Yeah.
Like is like it's very clear.
Yeah,
like,
they
I've had
came
neighbors
here.
where I see 10 people living in the same house, and it's no problem.
Literally. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Because
At my house, 4 people living there, and they arguing every day outside. You know what I mean? Like,
but that energy is different. Why? Because they had to. We don't know what type of things they had to do to even get here.
right.
You know, like it's probably
Everything has been a struggle. Yeah.
It's probably been a significantly better upgrade of the lower lifestyle that they're living right now. To us, you know, it's all about vantage point, you know? So that's what I think about those communities, you know?
Yeah, and I think, you know, I mean, another difference is someone born in another country, they probably are not allowed to work. You know what I mean? They're probably not allowed to own a home. Like, Like things that we take for granted, low key. You know, like they're probably not allowed to go to school. And they you know what I mean? They use the opportunity here and take it far.
Like it's literally not even an option where they
it ain't low key at all. We definitely take that shit for granted.
Absolutely. City college is free.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But people look at city college like, I ain't going there.
Exactly.
I don't give a fuck if it is free. Like, I ain't going to school. It's like hella little different factors to make it just to make your excuse a relevant excuse when it isn't. My bad, I'll cut you off. We'll go back to where you were going.
Tangent off. So it's tough to talk up a generation, especially too. So I think it's damn near impossible. It's impossible to me, damn near, to talk 2 generations up, especially if you don't have no money to back up what you're saying.
Right.
But I've been.
Why do you think that's a problem though? Like, why is it if you have the knowledge that clearly you didn't have, then it's like you want to give you this knowledge because clearly we learned something that y'all didn't. Why do you feel like people have that ego to like have an issue with that? To like, if you do talk of your mom or your grandma or whatever, like why do people have that ego to not want to listen to you? It's like, I'm bringing you facts. Look, this is what it says. We just do this, but you don't want to do it. It's like, fuck it. I'm not even going. You know what I mean? Why is that? Why do y'all think that's an issue for our community?
Maybe it's just hard for an older generation to articulate themselves to a younger generation. I also think we have difference in values. I mean, the things, not maybe difference in values, but opinions change as the facts do, and the facts are changing every day in the world. You know what I mean? So I think they're also it's just a generational disconnect almost. You know what I mean? Like,
that's a fact.
I came from this time where I just fucking put my head down and worked hard every day, and it was actually affordable, and shit wasn't as inflated. The the income to debt ratio wasn't as great as it is now. Shit like that. Those are all different factors in how shit happens.
Yeah.
Think about this though. Our grandparents were probably slaves or indentured servants or some sort of family around very racist stuff.
Right.
So it's hard I'm just looking at it from their point of view, that them coming probably from the Great Black Migration, as all of our families have, or as most black people that live in the West Coast have. You have to consider that they've done all that and found somewhere to be stationary in a metropolitan city,
right?
Throughout their good years in life. And
right.
their kids' good years in life.
Right.
Who the hell are we?
Right.
That's literally that's just where I know my place. And that's going back to my personal experience. I always say, like, I'm just I'm so far down the totem pole. Like, I'm just a link,
Right.
One day I aspire to be a strong link and a more connecting link to further our family. But right now I'm just a link.
Right.
And that's just my thoughts on how we get into generational wealth and things that we aspire to. We have to know where we came from.
I mean, do you even think the thing about some of that? Do you even think that our grandparents were thinking about generational wealth? I think some, they were just trying to get out of what they were doing. It wasn't really about the next generation. It was about, I gotta fucking own a house. You know what I mean? Like shit like that. So.
Well, we started thinking we're the ones who were starting to think about that because they had to worry about surviving and they're making sure their kids could survive.
More extreme racial times.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, wasn't too long ago when a black man could be called boy. Like normal. Like not even like this is like a super over the top.
Yeah, we're
like,
still young in the fight.
Yeah. So, for us, we have to be the change that we want to see, and we have to. I think our generation has a lot of potential, and we just have to foster that to our kids and our kids' kids, and we have to remember this. And I'm really trying to do a good job of fostering that relationship with one generation up,
Right.
As I grow older, your respect grows more with the one
it's
generation.
even difficult to talk to my mom about.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. On certain subjects, it's just not.
And I think that she's I feel like you're closer to my
Yep.
age, so you might feel me, but it's still like no.
Exactly. That's
son.
exactly. So that is where I was with that. Just low key. Switching gears, but kind of staying where we're at. What do you think that we have to do to really get that economic push that would be similar and would gain power for our political ambitions? What do you think we have to do?
I think the main thing is you have to realize that there's enough room for everybody.
Speak!
I think that's the number one thing that holds us back is you feel like you've gained some secret knowledge, so you can't let it out to the world or something like that.
Ego.
like this is the secret society and I finally made it type shit. But if people realize that there was room for everybody, then this shit would just be a lot better. Like, how many fucking brands of soda are there? You know what I mean?
Everybody eating.
How many brands
and
of
they're all
cereal
next to each
are
other.
there? You know what I mean? It's all about, of course the work is contingent upon you, but the main thing is there's enough room for all of us.
100%.
Ego for sure.
I was reading this book.
We in that crab in the bucket era, where it's like you're not getting ahead of me. That's just what it is. If I make it out, I'm not coming back to get you.
Damn.
That's literally the thing that we're dealing with at this moment, as far as especially our society.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sorry, not our society, our generation. I know a lot of people that don't want to give game to anyone about literally anything. So for the most part with me, I make sure that no matter what, any little bit of game, a gem that I pick up here and there, I always pass to somebody. So people just have too much of an ego, and you don't want to see somebody ahead of you, because like if I tell you what I did or how to do this, you might do it better than me. And that's an issue that has been going on. I think I don't know when it began, but I feel like the whole becoming equal thing kind of messed up our culture.
What do you mean?
As African Americans.
Go ahead.
Because we wanted so bad to be equal to the white man.
I said that on a previous episode.
The white woman. It's like we weren't worried about the fact that we were just fine without these motherfuckers. Mm-hmm. We got here. We was here for the amount of time we was here. We started building shit on our own. Fine on our own. Only thing we was dealing with was just the discrimination, segregation part. Yeah, that's the only thing we was dealing with. But we were thriving as African Americans. Yeah, we was good. We was together. It was fine. Like, everything was good. But I think us being equal fucked us up. And now it's like, I need to get out of here before you do.
Right.
And that's the problem that we have.
Like you said.
Yeah, so that's the only thing I can think of as to our advice or like something we can do to change that. That's the only thing I can think of.
And I was going back. I was reading this book called Never Eat Alone. And
who's the author?
Faraz is the last name, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, Never Eat Alone. Faraz last name, and you should be able to find it. But anyway, it was talking about like people, like when they have a certain contact, and they think like there's a limited amount of times they can use this contact, right? Mm-hmm. Like somebody asks for the contact, oh no, I can't give that contact out, you know. Mm-hmm. But when in actual reality, a person who does that actually works against them, because it's always better to expand your network than try to consolidate. There's not a limited amount of times you could contact, you know what I'm saying? Right. Like there's not a finite number, and that is an issue that our community has. Like think like, oh well, I got this one plug and then that's just me, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, like I'm saying, the secret society, like we're in.
With the smallest shit though, it could be fucking shoes. You don't want to tell who you getting your shoes from, and it's like, bro, I just want to buy these fucking shoes. I don't really give a damn about all the other shit. I just need these pairs of shoes that's coming out every now and then.
Right.
And that person probably wants to make the money anyway.
Exactly.
So you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Shit, going on a tangent. This is literally that whole subject. What could have been a whole episode that we were thinking about doing was a shoe universe, but at the true root of it is how the constricting of a network is what people are doing, because they don't want to help people get shoes, basically. Right. They don't want to help people network, you know? And that, on that so miniature of a level, in and of that tangent, is how our community has an issue, because we think that we just got to have our own little, this my secret, this my thing, this my... Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, there is a such thing as abusing the plug, but, you know, I think there's a fine line between those two.
I don't think I've heard many... I've heard more of the prior than abusing the plug. Not many people are doing that. Okay. You know, it's very few and often and far.
It depends on what it is. If you got a plug for a certain
What do you think drives that mentality, though? Hey, I'm in this secret society. What is that? Is it because very few of us make it, or is it ego? Like, I want to be the star and I want everybody to see me. Like, what do you think that could be?
American society, media-driven.
It's both of those things. My bad to cut you off. It's both of those things. It's both of those, and then it's that sense of entitlement we have. It's like, you got to come through me to get to this nigga. Mm-hmm. You feel me? It's like, oh, you want this or that? All right, I'm gonna put you in. And I'm gonna tap you in with him. So it's like, once you get to him, it's like, oh, Jew sent me. I'm just talking to you. I talk to Jew, and that's how people. Not saying you like that, but it's like and it's an example. That's the problem that we have. It's like everybody has that sense of entitlement. Now is another episode we even talked about too of doing. So it's like all of this kind of just coming into one. So that's definitely I'd see. It's both of those things, and then that sense of entitlement too.
Love to see it. We appreciate y'all for having this little discussion with us. We trying a new thing, mini episodes. So we about to come right back with the next one. So thank y'all. Anything we got to say before we head out for our episode on economics and politics? What y'all got?
Let's pay some bills real quick, though. Shout out to our sponsors, Just Crackin' Seafood To Go, located at 1291 East Leland Road. Black-owned business. Seafood To Go is, like I said, Suite 4, Pittsburgh, California. Chef special every Tuesday. My favorite meal to get is the garlic noodles with the crab indoor shrimp. Another one of our sponsors is Dental Robin Hood. Smooth, can you tell the people a little bit about that?
Dental Robin Hood, dedicated to the betterment of oral health, specifically those in socioeconomic disadvantaged communities. Check us out at dentalrobinhood.com. Sign up, donate.
Facts.
Yep.
We appreciate y'all, like he said, for listening this far, man. You can catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all platforms streaming podcasts. We up out of here.
We up out of here.